It was interesting last week. You wanted me to delete your number, and I think people should know why.
Mhm.
I think the people should know why, but I
Go
don't
on.
think that they'll be on your side. But I think the people should know why.
That's fine.
Uh, there was a text message that I sent to you. By the way, I waited to the afternoon. I didn't even send this to you at 7 a.m. like I wanted to. I waited until after lunch, and I was like, let me go ahead, fire this off, and you be all right.
And attack this man. Uh-huh.
I didn't attack. There's no attacking happened. But I just said, and the funny thing is I haven't read this out loud. We're just gonna go through it. There is no inculpatory evidence that I inculcated mawkish behavior in my nieces and nephews, yet I'm still blamed.
I saw that text message and I looked at it and I was like, I'm not dealing with this right now. Because it took me a minute to respond, right? It took me
Let's
some time to respond.
so it took you about a half an hour. Yeah.
Yeah. What time did
Mhm.
you send it?
2:56, and you responded at
Yes.
3:30.
Yeah, I had just gotten off the desk. I was actually on my lunch and stuff, and I was like, you know what? I'm not doing this with her today. I don't deserve this. I don't deserve to be attacked. I'm a good person. I'm here trying to help the youth, trying to help elderly people meet their lifelong goals, and I get attacked like this out of the shadows, out of the darkness.
First of all, I think that helping you with my vocabulary is something
That's
that I'm
not even
giving.
your vocabulary
It's
though.
the gift that I'm giving to the world.
But friend, that's not even your vocabulary.
I can use some of these words on a regular basis if I wanted to,
You
but I
almost
don't work in that environment again.
you almost couldn't even say that with your eyes open.
I
You said, I
mean,
use some of these words.
listen, inculpatory evidence is something that I've heard a lot,
I've heard that
especially
before.
watching my shows. Like
Watching
I've
people's court,
heard it.
yeah.
I've heard it a lot. Mawkish behavior.
Mhm.
Mawkish behavior. I feel like that's a given, right?
Put
I
it all
feel like
together is
I
when
feel
it's
like,
not your vocabulary.
but I think inculcated is the new word that probably threw you off.
In the context
But
of
it perfectly describes what you do.
in the context of a complete sentence, that
Mhm.
is not your vocabulary.
It could be. You don't know that. You haven't talked to me
You don't
in
have the
almost
conviction to
okay.
convince me that you really want that vocabulary.
I really think that this type of vocabulary is necessary in certain spaces, but I find myself these days in spaces where if I were to use this vocabulary, um, even though I'm the only Black person in those spaces, those people would still not know what I'm talking about.
Even though I'm the only black person. I didn't know that. I thought that like throughout finance it was all black people.
Just like education, just like higher ed, just
Look,
like higher ed.
look, I everywhere I look, I see me.
Get out of the mirrored room, and then you'll be able to see what's really there.
Ah,
No, I feel like it's so. Sometimes when I do use, 25-cent words, $5 words, whatever the case may
mhm.
be, um, the people who I'm talking to, they don't they don't know what I'm talking about. Like when I was saying something, I said parenthetically, and
Mhm.
I was stopped in my example, and she was like, "I'm so sorry." And it could just be me. But can you what is the word that you just said? And I was like, are we talking about the leases? No, before when you were talking about, I said, oh, parenthetically. And she was like, yeah, what is that? I said, like parentheses.
I'm glad
And
she asked.
this is like the example. So it's more information so that you
Yeah,
understand the context of the situation. And she was just
parenthetical
like,
information.
oh, because I had no idea what you. After you said that word, I just shut down and didn't hear
She's like,
anything
wait,
else.
I need to define this. Good for her though. Like I'm happy she asked because a lot of
Yeah.
times people will hear words just in general, even if they're not like big words. They'll hear
Hmm.
stuff and they'll just go with it, or they've been, this isn't an attack on you. They've been shamed into thinking that everyone is supposed to know these
That's
big
but
words and
that's
stuff.
everywhere. Oh my gosh. Yes. Okay. Especially you working in education, you understand this almost more than anybody.
Yeah.
People will just assume that they're the dumb ones because they don't understand what
Nobody
this
knows what they're
person is saying.
doing. None of us know what we're
No
doing.
one knows.
And
It's
that has been a beautiful thing for me to realize 34, 35 years old. Like before, I was like freaked out all the time because I felt like I needed to know everything. In this
Mhm,
job in particular, even though it's not teaching, in this job in particular, there's a lot of stuff that I don't know how to do because it's a lot of like data entry stuff, Excel
mhm.
spreadsheets. I'm not good with that stuff. I'm gonna be straight up. I let Canvas do my grading for me when I was teaching. Um, but I realized like, okay, if I ask a question the first time, then I don't like problems won't come up anymore. Like this problem won't come up again. Or if it does, I'll know how to fix it. So I'm
Yeah.
like constantly texting my coworkers and stuff that have been in their positions longer than me, like, hey, how do I do this? What do we normally do with this? When should I do this? Who should I contact for this? Just always asking questions. Um, and I feel like it served me well because it makes me feel more confident with the job.
Mm.
Um, Personally, I don't understand how people just fly by without asking for clarification and stuff.
Well,
Um,
I think it has to do with agreeableness. Like you don't want to cause dissension in the ranks. You
I
don't want to make
disagree.
waves.
I
So
disagree.
you just try to agree. Just let's get to the job. But then you realize you get there, you have the tools, but you don't know how to use them because you refuse to answer to ask a
Yeah.
question or two.
Mhm.
That's
How
so
did you get? Do you like asking questions?
hard. So it's I have learned to start asking the right questions. So yes,
Yeah.
I've become much better at asking questions and I enjoy asking questions, but I
Hmm.
get frustrated when like and I think that's why I started using I started weaponizing heavy quotations my vocabulary because
You
the
attack people with weapons. Air God.
because they would talk in their company lingo, like in because when you're in an environment, right? We
Yeah.
have you. It doesn't matter whether you're in construction, whether you are a mechanic, whether you're in education, whether you're in finance. There's always lingo within your certain sect that
Hmm.
makes sense to you,
Hmm.
and it makes sense to all those who were in that environment for the last however long.
Hmm.
And so when a new person comes in, okay, what is this? What does this mean? What does this do? Okay, what's this UCC code? Well, it stands for, or what's a UCC? It's the Uniform Commercial Code. Okay, what does it do? Well, and then people don't know because they've just been saying it and doing it for so long.
Yeah.
And so
I remember you telling me about that with
when I'm asking
them just
questions, so where do I go to get this information if you as the trainer don't know? Or you as the analyst, you don't know? You're just doing stuff because this is what you were told to do, but you don't know the why behind it.
hmm
Okay, that makes no sense. So then with other leaders, when they start using lingo, I just up my words and I'm just like, okay, we're going to get academic on this.
Leah strikes back.
Oh, okay. And so I don't know if they paid attention, but when they started like talking in plain English,
Hmm.
and I know that it's faster to say some certain things just because it takes, oh my gosh, we have to do this and we have to do that. And it's faster to use an acronym or it's faster to say it, short. But if I'm like, I just got here 2 months ago, don't even
Hmm.
know what you're talking about, but
I've
apparently it affects me.
I've never been of that mind where like it's easier to shorten things, except for like LOL, LMAO, or whatever those kinds of things.
Mm,
But like as far as like using the names of different like centers and stuff on our campus, using the different programs that we use and stuff, I don't know why. I've always been someone that I want everything spelled out, especially if it's in writing or it's in conversation or something.
hmm
It's not really saving that much time for me personally for you to use three letters instead of you just saying like, okay, this whatever the title of it is. You know what I mean?
Mm,
Um, unless it's a very well known thing. But a lot of these positions have these very obscure definitions for things that sometimes don't even cross between departments.
mhm.
Um, but yeah, I said to say I've never understood the all the hype about shorthand personally, so I'm on board with you. You know, spell it out.
Especially if you have new people who are forever coming in, like you have to be able to explain at the very basic level to someone who doesn't know instead
Hmm.
of just repeating the
Hmm.
same terminology and expecting them to just do it. Like, nah,
Yeah, and a lot of
no.
people don't like doing that kind of thing because it makes them. It goes back to teaching for me. It's that idea of you need to know how to do something so well that you can explain it for like a 5-year-old or whatever,
Hmm.
and just completely dumb it down, for lack of a
Yeah,
better term, right? Simplify it just so
yeah.
that you can explain what you're doing so that other people can do their job. Um, and I wonder if it goes back to just how people in teaching positions in general just aren't really valued, really, you
Mm,
know? Speaking to
hmm.
my heart now, you know? So,
Well, we get before we get to your heart,
no, we
just
don't
want to
need to
thank
go there.
everybody for tuning in. I appreciate you.
Yeah.
This is Take Up Space Podcast. I'm your host Leah, joined by Jason. So thank you very much for being here,
We're
Jason.
back. We're back.
Yes, it's been a couple weeks, but
Yes.
I'm glad that we can come back and just be rejuvenated and take time to to exist. I think.
I'm so glad that I carved time out of my nothingness
Mm, mm.
to record with you.
Let me tell you, like, why is it so hard to schedule? Not schedule. It's so hard for me. Like today, I had a day off, but it was so hard for me to get anything done because I knew I had all day to do it. But if
Mm.
I am busy or with
Hmm.
someone, or if I have a lot of other things to do, I typically gotta get up, gotta do this, blah, 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 da, da, da. I
Hmm.
was supposed to go axe throwing today. I said it 45,000 times that I was gonna go axe throwing. And I was like, well, I can go get sushi because it's still happy hour. And then after sushi, I can go axe throwing. Oh my gosh, the axe throwing place I want to go to doesn't open until Wednesday. Well, there's another axe throwing place. Oh, how long is it going to take to get there? Oh, look, it's only a train ride away.
Why are they only open on Wednesdays?
No, they don't open until Wednesday. They're closed Monday
Oh,
and
really?
Tuesday.
That's interesting.
Yeah, they're closed Monday and Tuesday. And so, yes, it was raining when I woke up this morning, but I still intended on getting out of the house because
You needed to. Yeah.
I spent way too much time indoors, way too much time by
Wait, how long have
myself.
you been on vacation?
Today.
Oh, so you just been. Oh, right. You work from home. You don't have to go in the office at all anymore, huh? Yeah.
No, and this is what. So there was an interesting conversation on Twitter. I mean, on Twitter, on TikTok. Um, it was about the effects of what the social effects that people were experiencing after the pandemic.
I saw you
And
posted the video of you, the extroverts becoming more introverted, in a sense.
mhm.
Okay.
And I know I talked about it on the show previously, and the shortened version is essentially because I was by myself for such an extended period of time, I am socially an extrovert. At my core, I'm an extrovert. I'm a very communal person. But because I spent so much time by myself during the pandemic, just by myself, me and my dog, for I think a solid 9 or 10 months, something like that. Yeah, 9 or 10 months, and
Yeah.
I I became an introvert, and being around people drained me. Like like when I was even at my sister's place, and it's my sister, her kids, and her husband, and I could only be with them for like 20 to 30 minutes at a time before I needed to like go take a nap. I
Mhm.
couldn't understand for the life of me why I was so tired so much so quickly. And it was just like, no, being around people is draining. So that's why
Yeah.
I had to tell my introverted people. I don't know why I attract so many, but like I understand you now. I get why when I call audibles when we're out, how that affects you now, and I am so sorry.
We
Not
knew
really, but I understand now.
you were on your way. That's why um we were attracted to you. We knew that we would have to support you in this transition in your life.
Now, I
And
don't want to be an introvert though. I think
you can be a
what is it, the ambivert, where they get to choose, where they get to kind of like
favorite,
have both best of both worlds or whatever, or the worst of
I
both worlds.
guess.
I don't even want to be that. Like I am such a communal person that
Are
it
you? Are
is.
you now?
Oh,
Or were
absolutely.
you? I'm
No,
just messing with you.
it is my current state, and
I
I can
know.
tell because being in the house for the last 2 weeks.
Just for context, of I'm gonna just use the word threat. The threat of Leah's extrovertedness the entire time when I was in Seattle, I would kind of, other than the DJ people, okay, or the rappers or whatever, we're not going to talk about them anymore. When we're going to stores and stuff, I would purposely try to stay focused on certain things because I knew that if we were standing around certain people, you would try to adopt them in that like 15-minute in that 15-minute window period. I feel like you're the person that makes friends with people in line, like at the amusement park.
Oh, absolutely. At the airport, at the amusement park, at the grocery
See?
store, I have to talk to people. Like I have a guy named Chaz now who gets me the best fruits and veggies. Like I have a
I
guy
just
named
I,
Sizzle who makes sure that I have like
I
fresh
remember
clam chowder.
Sizzle. Sizzle's cool.
Sizzle's cool. See, yeah, see, I meet some cool people. Like
Dope.
I'm a very social person. I love talking to people. I
Wow.
love hearing their
Modest as
stories.
well, aren't we?
Um, of course not. What? So it is it is a very interesting space for me to be in
Hmm.
because I have been so, and we talked about this I think a couple episodes ago about
Hmm.
me being nomadic and developing introvert tendencies that would
Right.
go against my extrovertedness, and just as like a level of protection without really realizing the effects of it. But being in the pandemic, somebody was like, yeah, like I have everything I need at home, I just want to stay home, like that's where all the nice things are. And I'm like,
Hmm.
yeah, but your home can also become a prison,
Yeah.
because yeah, like all your nice things are there, that's where they should be, but you should have a place to go to where you can experience chaos a little bit. Like
Yeah.
in order for me to enjoy the peace, in order for me to enjoy the serenity of being at home, I need the chaos in my life. I need the hustle and bustle of the market, or riding on a train, or
See,
standing for an hour waiting for the ferry to
you
get
had
back to
me.
Seattle.
You had me at the start, but then you lost me. The chaos. I feel like the chaos thing for me, I'm kind of over it. Like being like in city center, like even around where we are, it used to be quieter,
Mhm.
quietish, even though it's a busy street that we face.
Yeah.
But it's gotten progressively more and more chaotic in a sense, just like with the people that live around us, the neighbors and stuff,
Mhm.
the cars that drive by, the stuff that's happening on the streets. And I realize like I don't even like going downtown or midtown anymore because it's just so like there's too much going on. For me, it's overstimulating. I think
Mm.
for me with the and even when I was in Seattle, at first I was like, okay, this is intense being downtown. It's a lot. It's a lot of people. It's a lot of people. It's a lot of energy.
And for me, I go, my people.
Yeah,
Like,
I
I'm
realized
just
that every
like,
time you stepped out, when we got on that boat to go over to Bainbridge Island, I was like, okay, I think I do still want to move here if I can find like a quiet outskirts part. So even like towards the university where I'm looking towards,
hmm
that would be cool. I think for me, going back to the pandemic stuff, um, at first the pandemic was like, okay, I think I can get down with this. This is okay. I'm an introvert. I feel good. After about a month of it, the fact that there was no option is what really did it
Mm,
for me. And I know it did that for like it messed Jordan up too, because it was like, okay, yeah, there's a difference when like as an introvert, I can go to the office or something, or
right,
I can choose to stay in for 2 or 3 days at a time or 3 or 4 days at a time.
right, right.
The fact that there was no option for me to go out and really interact with people without in those early stages without like feeling like I was gonna be the person like patient zero for our complex or whatever.
hmm
Um, I don't like when I feel trapped, and that made me feel really trapped because there was no option
Hmm.
to leave. Um, so similar thread. Like it was like an prison type thing where it was like, okay, I guess it was like a prison. Like I didn't have the option to leave the prison, which is what the idea of prison is. So I think that's the goal.
I mean, mostly they put a lot of
Allegedly.
they put a lot of security in place to make sure that other
So
people don't
they
go anywhere.
say. A lot
Yeah.
of billionaires have put a lot of money into making
Hmm.
sure that you don't leave.
Yeah.
We
Legally or illegally, whatever. But that's neither here nor there.
we're not gonna
But
go there.
but it's funny because when I was talking about, oh yeah, I think I can live out in the suburbs or this or
Mhm.
that or whatever, and I was told no, you need the city, and I was like, I don't think. I mean, I think that I'm kind of over. He was like, no, no,
Who?
you need the city. I
Not
mean,
me. Oh, okay. I
no.
was about to
And
say.
I was like, I feel like I was like, but I think I could do no. Just
I
like,
okay, at least he knows you. So that's good. Um, because I don't think you could really. Like you would have to be, even if it was like the suburbs or something, I could see you being like towards Sunfish over in West Seattle, like
mm,
in that area where there's still a lot going on, still
mhm.
sort of touristy and stuff, still kind of
Yes.
bustling, but slower, different vibe for sure.
Oh, absolutely.
Um,
It's a different vibe in West Seattle.
like I feel like, not speaking for you, my observations as a friend, that's the kind of vibe that you would have, or even not even Bainbridge Island, because I feel like Bainbridge you could own a property there and go on the weekends and you would be good with it, but day to day I feel like you would snap on somebody to make, not snap on somebody
I feel
actually,
like that sounds a little violent.
you would weaponize your words
Oh
with
wow.
somebody. You
Oh
said
wow.
it.
First of all, that was in heavy quotes.
Saying
You
that
didn't use
lightly, yes,
you
saying that
you didn't use
lightly,
heavy quotes.
weaponize the words. um but yeah, yeah, it was, thinking back to August 10th, when I was in Seattle. I'm gonna lean
Oh
in for
my
this.
gosh. Wow.
To
Okay.
August 10th.
Mm.
Let's take it back.
Mm.
Can you imagine
Mm-mm.
Seattle,
Wow.
August 10th?
Wow.
That's it.
Wow.
That's the story. I'm so sorry.
Yeah, so
I'm so sorry.
I want to move on because I
Me
don't even know what
too.
just happened here.
Me
But
either.
I do feel like being in like this is my only like real socialization. Like
Yeah.
it sucks because people are so used to texting and flaking and getting back like every other week or whatever. And I'm just like, for why? Like why like what is the
Be
point
consistent.
of what is the point of saying that you want to have and it's the same story, it's the same story. Every person I have met has had the same story. um, just moved out here, really looking for my tribe, really looking for my community. Want to have, a good group of girls to go out and have brunch and do this and do that, blah, blah, blah. Not everything's for everybody. I completely understand. And not everybody is for everyone. So just, we keep that in mind. But you're not even taking like what is it called? Prerequisite steps to get to that point.
Mhm.
Having a, if you have a, you want to go out or you want to go do something, like let's not text for weeks at a time because I already have texting buddies. I already have, obviously, I've already have friends and family who don't live here.
Mhm.
That's why I'm looking for people to hang out with. But why would I want to continually text you if you have no intention of wanting to meet up? I have texting buddies. I have people I can call and I'm on FaceTime or video chat with on a regular basis. And I feel like I did in the beginning of the pandemic. Or no, sorry, this was like probably month 5.
Mhm.
I became so frustrated. They call it like video fatigue or Zoom fatigue, whatever
Yeah,
the
Zoom
case,
fatigue. Yeah.
where you just get tired of just being on camera and just like talking to people this way because it's like, oh
It's
my gosh,
it's
but
especially taxing. Like it's more
yeah.
taxing than, and we talked about that before, probably one of the episodes, the first ones that we recorded.
Hmm. Hmm.
But it takes an entirely different type of energy to or yeah, different type of energy, mental energy, to convey your essence
Yeah.
through the camera and make the people still feel like, okay, I'm engaged with you, I'm in this moment. It's like you're having energy for two people in one body, and then by the time you're off, it's over. And it's
Yeah.
interesting because a lot of people, I don't know if they forgot that that's a thing, that we hit a limit.
We did. And
Like,
even
nobody talks about it anymore, right?
no, they don't. And even okay, before we started recording, you were telling me a story, and in the story, you started laughing because you thought that I was frozen. And one of the
Oh my
things
god.
that one of the things that I have essentially perfected when I am on video chat is I try to not have so many facial expressions because we're not in the same environment. We are just sharing time on screen. So we're not in the same room. We're not experiencing the same thing. We're just sharing time on screen and trying to communicate through all the internal and external noise, right? So what I try to do, what I try to do is show that I'm paying attention and not interrupt you and not let my thoughts bombard me without listening to what you're saying so I don't have an immediate response. I can actually digest what you're saying, which means that I have a frozen face
She was like
where I
this.
don't blink.
She was like this.
And if
Like, there was no movement at all.
oh, but I was focused. I was listening to what you were saying.
Like, blink.
But I can't.
Blink.
But I feel like if I'm more animated, like all of this, when I'm doing all this, well, I feel like when I'm more animated, sometimes I feel like it can be too distracting, especially for video chat, because now you're trying to watch and see what I'm doing, how
See,
I'm
I
talking, and where
disagree.
it's going, and things like that. So I try not to be so animated
And
when
expressive.
I'm yeah, like I try to really I try to like hold that back, and so
Why?
it's so
'Cause
huh?
why? That seems like it's not authentic to you. Like, it, not calling you
It's
fake.
not.
That sounded like I just attacked you like
It's
Real
just I
Housewives or
mean
something. But like, that doesn't seem genuine. Even with our interactions, that's not how we get down. Like, you, when we talk in person, we do interrupt each other, right?
yes, we do. We do quite a bit. We do.
So I, yeah, especially when,
But I feel like the I don't my brain doesn't say, "Hey, you're in a like a friendly fly zone. Like
right.
you can be this space." It's more like, "Oh, we're on video chat again.
This
I have
is
to make sure that
Zoom
I'm
first.
presenting, you know?
Yeah, it's a
I have to
video
make sure
call
that I'm
first, and then whoever is on the other end of that, that's just, they get you sort of through that that lens.
right, right."
Okay.
So it's been for me it's been really hard to it's been really hard to not only like build community, but
Yeah.
it's hard to not be out amongst the people. Like I have to
Hmm.
have the some days there's more days than not. I'm excited to go outside. I'm excited
Hmm.
to be in different spaces, see who's there. Even if I don't know anybody, like I'm talking to somebody.
Yeah,
Um,
I know.
but but I mean I'm gonna make a friend or two. Like
Yeah.
it's bound to happen. And so whether somebody's asking for directions and or whether someone is happening to looking at something that I like, and I'm like, hey, do you like this? What do you like about it? Because I like this.
Hmm.
Have you ever tried this? I actually had a 15-minute conversation with somebody about cherries. Didn't know that I didn't know that much about cherries, and this person knew a lot about cherries. Um,
You don't know what you don't know until you
not
find
a
out.
cherry farmer, but still knew quite a bit. Could have been lying to me the whole
Was it
time, but it was a very
suspicious?
interesting conversation.
Was it suspicious that he knew so much about cherries?
It
Or
wasn't because I
she?
tuned out halfway through the conversation.
You
Um,
didn't just stare him in the face to process everything?
that only works in Zoom. I feel like when I'm doing that in real life, people think something is wrong with me.
I
So
thought something was wrong with you just
I have to do the whole.
Your nail color is awesome, by the way.
Well, thank you. I decided to go with
Oh
an ombre
my
color
gosh.
because I'm trying out different colors before I go to
Whoop,
Vegas.
whoop, whoop.
So yeah, so I'm just like at this point,
Yeah.
um, I don't know. I just it just hit me that it's gonna be cold out here for the next 6 months,
Mhm.
and I'm like,
That's gonna look completely different from how
it
you were interacting
is.
with people before.
Oh
So do
my
you
god,
have any kind of plan in place for,
no.
like,
Mm-mm.
how you'll manage that, like how comfortable you are meeting people in certain places and stuff. Like how are you gonna approach this? How are we gonna approach this? This is a we thing now. You just brought it up to me. So
So I realized that even with the different meetup groups, right?
mhm,
So many people are still relying on video chat to
mhm.
meet people, and I'm like, that defeats the whole purpose of having a meetup group.
With no intention of meeting them in person.
Mm-mm, they don't have
Interesting.
any. They're a virtual group, and I was like,
I get meeting the people online first to suss them out and stuff, but
no, they have no intention. No.
that's very interesting.
And
That's
so, because I don't fall into these groups of like, oh, this is a singles brunch. This is a married brunch. Oh, this is a people who knit on Tuesdays. And I'm like,
mhm,
okay, but I'm only free on Wednesdays. Like, what's happening here? I even started looking at languages groups, like, because I was
mhm.
like, I'm gonna join somebody's group. I was looking at this.
Yeah.
I was looking
Somebody
at
is
this.
gonna get these words.
I was looking at this group of like practice your Arabic, and I don't know any Arabic, but
Perfect group.
I was like, ooh, let me join this group until it said you must know basic Arabic because we won't teach you anything. This is just to help you with conversation. And I was like,
Duolingo, baby.
how much
You
do I
better
need to
download
do?
it.
Like, I was like, how do I? Because I like now I'm
Much
emailing. I emailed my
Arabic.
manager and I was like, what do I need to do to learn Arabic from Rosetta Stone through the company? Because I'm somebody is getting this interaction. Okay, like
The
I'm.
fact that you ended up with Arabic, nothing wrong with the language, but that's just so random and it's not applicable
Because
to your day-to-day
the
life.
Spanish one was full. The can't no Vietnamese one was in Vietnamese, so I couldn't. I didn't. There was no translate button for me to understand.
Immersive.
Um, yeah, I was like, yeah, I don't have it. And then um there was a I thought there was going to be an ASL one where there's like, oh, come learn English, and I would have been like, hey, cool, like we can do. Nope. And
Mm.
so I was like, I'm gonna be a kid and show up at a park and just start talking to people, but I'm afraid of like going to a park with kids and talking to parents and I don't have kids, because then
Mhm.
that's like, why are you here? And I was like, well, I just need friends.
I
So
was just about to say I couldn't do
just,
that. Like me personally,
just need friends.
that's never been on my radar to even attempt to just walk up on people in the
I
park.
really wish I knew how to play basketball, because that's literally what I would do. I would show up to the court, or if I knew how to play a sport, oh,
Mhm.
absolutely, show up to the court randomly. Hey, I can play, and just be on the court with the guys and just be like, hey, what's up? How y'all
Not
doing?
doing that though.
Okay,
Don't do
cool.
that. Don't do that. Don't do
I
that.
didn't do that.
Don't do
I
that.
just that was
It
my insight. So
never happened.
yeah. So it's being recorded. But yeah, there are so many things that I have thought about trying, but the tried and true is just start talking to people. Like I
Yeah.
have it was funny because there was another guy on TikTok who they asked him, how are you still single? Why are you single? He was like, because like I don't go outside. There's strangers out there. Everything I have is at home. Why would I leave? And I'm just like, but the strangers are where the stories are. Like the strangers are where the people are. Like you got to go out and talk to the strangers.
As someone who
A stranger
interacts
is just a friend you haven't met yet.
as someone who interacts with the general public literally every day, I I feel bad because I need fewer people to talk to. Like,
I wish that was my problem. I
but then they
even
get
when I
attached
did.
to you. There's a student that I've told you about, older lady,
Mhm.
her, not her. Um,
Not
but
her, but her.
yeah, ugh, I'm not having a guttural reaction to who I'm talking about. So, um, but we know, me and my coworker, we know basically every detail about what happens in her home, what
Mhm.
happens at her doctor's appointments, what happens with her car, with her house, like her financial situation. I have the kind of personality where when I do start talking to people, they open up too much. Like, I know that's not a bad thing necessarily.
I think it is sometimes, especially
Yeah,
when you're being told like, wait, have you seen Halloween Ends? So
better than
you
kills,
remember?
better than
So
kills,
you
but
remember when he straight up told her, "Hey, I killed a guy."
yeah.
Yeah.
And
So if somebody opens up to you in that way, then
somebody
you're like,
has opened up
that's
to
a
me
little
in
bit.
that way,
I
remember?
wasn't gonna bring it up directly, but if you want to bring it up directly,
Look, when a student tells you, I had problems with this person, so he had to go see Jesus and I had to go see someone else about their roommate.
mm, mm-mm, mm-mm,
I'm just saying. I'm just
mm-mm,
saying.
mm-mm.
But yeah, that's actually been one of the things with my therapy that I've been working on like consistently for like the past 3 years or so, 3 or 4 years.
Hmm.
Just making sure that, and this part of the reason why I'm actually more extroverted now, just making sure that when I interact with people, I don't just like automatically take on everything that they share with me and just every story that they feel like they need to share and every life experience they need to share. Like I've heard stories from people just like sitting in the park at the Capitol about their traumatic childhood, like people just passing. And
No, but you have that. I feel like since you're so easy to imprint on,
mhm,
like you have some kind of beacon that calls to these people that goes,
yeah,
"Hey, this person could use this information about me." Excuse me.
yes, like I don't know
Please
why.
don't open up to me that way. But I think as an extrovert, I have been very careful about the kind of boundaries that I put up and like what I'm willing to take on from people.
Yeah.
And so it's harder for people to imprint on me. Like it's harder for people to like I'll remember some things about people. I'll
Hmm.
remember like important things. I won't remember your name initially, but I'll remember some important things about you.
Hmm.
And be able to talk about those things should we meet again. But
Yeah.
um I don't I don't allow that kind of energy to take up residence like in me because
Hmm.
it's not healthy for me
No, it's not
because I
healthy
don't
at all.
because then I'll be like, okay, this is a problem that I need to fix.
Yeah.
This
And
is something
that's,
that I need to resolve. And it's like, no, it's not
it's
because
something
they
that you
have been
heard. You
right,
can empathize with them, but you don't have to take on it and make it your own problem.
right.
And that's something that I'm being more mindful of because honestly, I've always been like that, even as a little kid, like very attracting like wounded bird type thing, like that kind of personality.
Mm, yeah,
Um,
yeah,
not that
same,
the people
same.
I've met are birds, but
No,
just
but it's like they're always like
there's something
for
there.
lack of a better word, they're typically broken or
Yeah,
hurt in some kind of way, and they're looking to you for some kind of
either
even if
consciously or
it's just
subconsciously.
right, even if it's just like getting it out or seeking advice or actually seeking a resolution. Like
Hmm.
they may not consciously be aware that that's what they're looking for, but it's like I tend to attract those people, and I
Yeah.
always wondered, was I attracting those people because I was hurt or because they were like, oh my gosh, people say, especially in church, oh my gosh, you're a healer. Because when people come to you, they're so broken. And then when they leave, and it's like, yeah, but that takes a lot of energy though.
Right.
Like,
Like, okay, where do you think that what do you think that's coming from?
right. Like, I don't understand like what kind of and it was you actually that something was
That was
happening.
very accusatory with that finger, by the way. That was
Um
you actually.
it was you who one day you said something and it changed the way that I thought about things.
Mhm.
um where I was like, I was saying something like, I have no idea what has happened in the world, but um these type of people keep coming to me. And you said, well, I would wonder what kind of energy I'm actually putting out there to attract these people. And I
Mhm.
was like, he said it's my fault.
It's a control thing. It's the
I
things that you
am
have
the
control
common
over.
denominator. Oh my gosh.
I
It is
actually
me.
had to say the same thing to myself where it wasn't for me, it was more so with teaching where it became more apparent where I would really fixate on the students that were like telling me that they had like tumultuous stuff going on at home, or
Hmm.
the students that I could see were like falling asleep in my class and stuff. or they were constantly asking for snacks and stuff. And so they would sort of gravitate to me, but then I would feel like I had to protect them. And so in turn, I kind of
Mm,
put out that like protector vibe. And so it seemed like that attracted more to me. And then I started trying to protect people without being aware of it, which took away control over
mm,
the situation. And so I'm like, okay, I need to be mindful of how I'm interacting with these people so that they can see what they're getting from me. And so I had to like reprogram myself where I'm like telling students, yeah, I can help you do this, but it's your responsibility. I'm here to support you. I'm not going to do it for
yeah.
you. That kind of thing. And so that's honestly gone towards like interactions with, honestly, like with my parents and stuff too, where it's like certain things, if, or even my brothers, like if certain things are brought to me, I can offer my solution, or I can be there as just a sounding board or whatever. But it's, I'm not putting out that energy at this point where I feel like people are taking advantage of me.
Mm,
um, Even if I'm still putting out, I'm not really doing anything different. It's almost like I'm just telling myself in my mind, this isn't my problem. This is not my problem. It's not my circus. It's not my problem to fix. So yeah, I forgot I told you that.
yeah. I mean, it was a decade ago, maybe, but
I'm
it
sorry.
really no. This was no, yeah, almost a decade ago because this is in. It was I in Virginia? I don't remember where I was, but you were just
Oh,
like
I think it was around the time it was a
because
Texas
I
person.
was sitting on your couch, and that's when you were like, I would be wondering what kind of energy I'm putting out there
It was one of
to
your
get
visits
this.
back here though, right?
Mm-hmm.
I
Yeah.
think it was a Texas person, and you know what I'm talking about. Sorry. Um, I think it was around one of those Texas people. I can think of a few different Texas people.
Wow, just all my business. Okay. But
It's
yeah,
not all
there's
Texas people. Not
no,
family,
it
by the
was
way. I'm not talking about your
um
family.
well, none of my family is from Texas, so that's good.
I mean
But
people in Texas. You know what I meant.
um but no, it does make sense to what I try to do is preemptively before I get in deep with the situation.
Hmm.
I try my best to make sure that um I'm like I know it's kind of like how to describe it, a gambler. It's kind of like a
Hmm.
gambler before they go into a casino. 300 is my number. When I lose 300, I'm out,
Hmm.
right? Because otherwise, if you don't go in there with a game plan, or I'm only going to make, if I either lose 300 or make 1200, and if if I hit 1200, I'm done. If I lose 300, I'm done.
Hmm.
But then if you don't go in there with a game plan, you can walk out, in your drawers, and that's all
Yeah.
you got. So when I go into a situation, whether it's a relationship, whether it's talk to a stranger or whatever the case, I try to remind myself of my limits,
Hmm.
of what I'm willing to deal with and what I'm willing to do. Especially, I think I was talking to somebody about being in a relationship, and I was like, yeah, like I am able to be in a relationship because I know regardless of what happens, I'm going to be okay. No
Hmm.
matter how deeply in love I am with this person, no matter how far we go, no matter how short or long the relationship is, like I'll be okay, right? So I'm able to take the plunge because I know that I know what my standards are. I know how
Hmm.
far I'm willing to go. I know what conversations I'm willing to have, what things I'm willing to hold back, things like that.
Right.
I feel like when I'm dealing with strangers or with dealing with the public, especially when I was working in retail and I
Hmm.
had to deal with the public on a regular basis, like there were a lot of things that were off limits, like
Yeah.
talking about my family, talking about when I left, talking about my shift or the people I work with, things like that.
Hmm.
Um, just for protection, just for
Yeah.
protection purposes. And for clients, when I'm dealing with those clients, there were certain boundaries I would also put up, like, yes, we get into your business when you're opening up a bank account, but we don't need to know whose baby mama you cheated with when you decided to open up another account, or you need this account because you're.
Why the marriage is dissolved? We're not
Right.
getting that
Like I don't
information.
really need to know, any and all
Just
of your
process
business,
the
because
paperwork. I don't
you
need to
know,
know.
but it made me I had a shower thought the other day. I wonder how many people I am a cautionary tale for.
Oh,
Like I wondered that for like a minute, and I was like, I hope they learn good lessons, cuz whew.
and for somebody, I don't know what lessons could they learn from my
I mean, I
plight.
know I was as it when I was on the debate team at Sac State, I know there are a lot of lessons that they probably use for those who are still there. Um, Working in banking, a couple different ones. But yeah, I'm just like, I wonder how many people I'm a cautionary tale for. Hmm, interesting. But yeah, um, but I think that knowing my limits before engaging
Yeah.
and practicing those and reinforcing those, because it doesn't make any sense for you to have boundaries or have limits and not reinforce like the consequences or repercussions
Yeah.
of that. Not saying like, hey, um, don't show your tattoos in my house.
Hmm.
But hey, in my house, we make sure that we cover up, blah blah blah. You could choose to show up or not. Like that's your business. But in my
Hmm.
house, we don't show those or whatever. Or
She did say that to me before, by the
shoes
way.
might have been easier, but tattoos was the thing that was on my mind because I really
Tattoos,
want to get
like,
another one.
that's so random. Like, that is
I've
so
been thinking about this
discriminatory.
tattoo for a little while now, and so that was like, I'm surprised it's the first time that's ever come up. But yeah, thinking about certain boundaries and certain parameters I put in place when I'm engaging with people helps
Mhm.
me to feel protected as an extrovert, because I can go
Yeah,
and talk to people, laughing and talking, whatever. But
the boundary. It's a boundary
I don't
thing.
need to get deep with you until we're like a few months in.
Yeah, and
We
that's
can
the
keep
thing.
everything surface level. Whatever you put on social media is what we can talk about. Unless you cried on social media, then I can't really deal.
Yeah.
But I feel like for the first few months, let's get to know each other, see if we can get together, create a vibe, create a mood, whatever the thing is, whatever. If we can get along, great. But if not, then let's go ahead and move on. But we don't need to get deep.
She said, "Keep on moving, don't stop. No, keep on
Oh
moving."
my gosh. But yeah, that's what I think helps me, and that's what changed for me. Especially after I left the Bay Area. I was not as willing to take on
So
people.
many people.
Yeah,
Mhm.
I just wasn't. And
It's a
so
learned, especially because a lot of American culture, I guess. Yeah, American culture, Western culture, I guess. They really reinforce this idea that we're supposed to have these huge friend groups and just like these expansive friend groups that like are just
is
everybody's
that an
connected.
American thing?
I don't know. Well, I'm thinking like even like British shows and stuff where there's always like everybody has this little network of friends and stuff, and like
Mm,
I think it's more American though, isn't it?
you know what? Honestly, I don't know where this idea of being in your 30s and having a group of 30 people as friends, or even a group of 10,
Like even
or
watching like
even a
some of
group of
those things,
5, like.
like watching some of those things, like oh, we're having a friendsgiving type thing. It's great. I'm not faulting anybody that does that, but I always look at those like I don't even have 10 people that I would want in my house at the same time.
Right.
Like and also I like to keep things sort of you're my friend over here, you're my friend over here. Have my
Yeah, all my
it's
friends don't
different to
mix. I
merge them.
have my going out friends, I have my staying out friends,
I've
staying
tried
in
that before.
friends. I've had my school friends, I've had my work friends. My work friends don't need to know what I do with my club
Work friends
friends.
don't need to know anything.
Like they know that I show up to work and they're good. Like we don't need to do much more
Was
than
she on
that.
time? Yes. Did she help us? Yes. All right. Go
That's
home.
the long and short of it. But I
That's
feel
it.
like some people
And it's not a
I think
bad thing
I don't
necessarily.
know. Like that's a weird. I mean, it's a good observation, but it's so weird. I don't know where we get the idea, and I think that's where people feel like they're missing out because they don't have this big group of
Yeah.
friends. I'm like, get you one,
It's
get you
pressure. Like
one
it's
person
added pressure. Yeah.
who can actually not tolerate you, but a person who will actually celebrate you who is so happy when you come around, you feel good being around them. Like get you one. Get you
Well,
one, just one person.
you knew this was coming. I'm miserable right now. When you showed up, my day dimmed. It was
Mm,
terrible.
mm.
I don't celebrate you. I denigrate you.
Wow. Wow. He turned into a whole degenerate right now. Okay. Your
No,
mawkish
but seriously,
behavior is
like,
unappreciated.
no, what'd you say? You said I'm not appreciated?
I say your mawkish behavior is unappreciated.
Oh, thank you. I know you meant that from your heart too.
Oh.
No, but seriously, like, I don't, and it's not something I thought of until you brought up stuff about friends and stuff. But just that idea of having a network of friends, like, if you could find one solid friend at this point, like one
Yeah.
solid person out there, it's like, okay, this is a good start. If by chance another one or another two showed up, then that's great. But as long as you have one person, I feel like that's enough. I don't know if for me that's a twin thing because I've been riding this entire life with
Mm-hmm.
somebody like there all the time,
Mm-hmm.
annoying or not, you know. But
I mean,
I'm just kidding,
ultimately,
Jordan. You're not
the
annoying.
good outweighs, you know?
Yeah, and that happens with any friendship or any kind of relationship, really. But just the idea that you have to try to have this expansive network, I
Mm-hmm.
feel like that puts a lot of unnecessary pressure on people that are, especially for introverts,
Yeah,
that
yeah.
are, if you're just stepping out and stepping into yourself really and just really understanding yourself, understanding what kind of people you want to be around,
Mm-hmm.
that can be a lot of undue pressure and anxiety trying to figure out, okay, I have one person I'm dealing with, and I got to get another person, I got to have another person so we can be a clique, so we can have our group or whatever.
We are not in high school.
No.
And you're not really in, like, if you think about it, grade school through secondary school, you're essentially in place, even in college, you're
Mhm.
in places where there are constant people with the same
Common
interests
interest.
or
Yeah.
same goals.
Mhm.
And so when you get to work, or when you leave school, you are essentially like uninhibited. There's no structure,
Mhm.
and life is just going to happen. So you have to decide how you want to make friends. You have to decide, what people from school, whether you want to stay in contact with them or
Mhm.
move on or be a whole different person. Like for the introverts, honestly, just stand outside and wait for an extrovert to pass you. Like you'll be swept up in it. It'll be fine. Just make sure your social battery is charged up for at least a good hour and then dip out. Like it's
Just
fine.
follow them. They won't even realize
But
that you're there if you
right, they
do it to
won't.
Leah.
But it's so amazing to me, that people get to the their 30s and they're just like, I have no one. And it's like,
Mhm.
just get you a person. First of
Get you
all,
one.
first of all, please make sure you take care of yourself. We always say therapy and Jesus always get you something that you can hold on to in yourself. Like make sure
Mhm.
that you're strong in yourself first. If you have that self-awareness, you have that emotional intelligence. I'm not saying that you need to therapize everybody you talk to. Please do not therapize people you talk to. But it's good to know who you are well enough so that when you're involved in certain situations, that you know how you may or may not react.
Yeah.
So immediately when you get to a situation, you're like, I'm actually not feeling this, I'm out.
Mhm.
Save yourself a lot of heartache and trouble, right? Or like, oh, okay, all right, this is uncomfortable, but I like it. Okay, we can ride this out a little bit, see where the waves take me.
Mhm.
But it's not a situation of something is wrong with you if you don't have 5 dozen people around you at all times. Like for some reason, I thought that I was going to have this huge ballroom 30th birthday celebration.
Mhm.
I always had it in my mind that's what I wanted to do, and I was like, I know maybe 6 people outside of my family who would probably go. Why? Maybe I can do that for my 50th when I have like kids and grandkids and they have to go, or
Mhm.
when I'm involved in like a big enough group to want to go and do something, or even take the 5 or 6 people who I do know who's rocking with me,
Mhm.
and we could go to dinner or go on a trip or something like that. But
Right.
it's not a thing of having to have everybody with you. And honestly, y'all, please don't think social media is real life.
It's
because
not.
it's not. It's not real life. Like you can get on there, be whoever you want to be, travel where you want to travel, see what you want to see, and even be in an echo chamber of just like reaffirming your negative or positive thoughts or your one-sided view about a certain perspective or
Your
situation, right?
prerogative.
Yeah, you can do whatever it is you want to do, but I feel like um you have to get off of social media. It has done wonders for my mental health. Get off of social media and actually go outside and say, "Hello, my name is. How are you?"
And if you don't want to meet anybody, you don't have to.
I mean, you don't.
Don't
There's no
don't feel like
pressure.
you
You
have
don't have
to.
to meet people.
You know what's crazy? Gonna basically this will probably take us out because you'll probably cut me off after I say this. We turned we turned 30. Isn't that crazy? I know we're 35 now, but we hit our 30s.
I'm excited for 40. Like I have so many things that I want to accomplish up to my 40th, and I have it set up
I
to where I'm excited.
I hope that by the time I'm 30, 40, I guess. It used to be by the time I'm 30, I wanted to be salt and pepper, but
Mm.
yeah. So by the time I'm 40, I'm hoping that my beard will at least get some salt and pepper.
Probably not. You'll still look 25. Like people are still gonna be like, "How old are
I
you?"
want to, but I don't want to. You know what I mean? Like I want
Well,
to
I
look
mean, you don't
young.
have to look fatherly in your profession. I mean, well, I
I
guess it
think
would
I'm
make
gonna go
sense.
stand in the sun tomorrow, get some sun damage.
No, don't do
Put
that.
that 25 with 15% European to the test. Make sure
To
see if the
see if you
melanin,
burn.
yeah, see if the
No,
melanin can fight that
no,
little
no,
bit of
no,
European.
no, no,
It's
no,
a
no.
battle of the skin.
I think you have enough melanin to be okay. But
Ooh, ooh.
seriously though, I really hope that you all at least be there for yourself first, because when you're there for yourself, you'll, and I know it sounds cliche, but when you are there for yourself, you will attract other people who do have the same goals, who do have the same interests, but they're not going to just show up at your door.
Yeah.
Like they're not. I really like if you guys go back and listen to like the 2020 episodes of Take a Space podcast, you would hear me always talking about um the stork dropping a husband off at my door who knows how to like build things and fix things. The stork never came, but I had to go outside. I had to go outside to meet people, and I had to go outside to get friends, and I had to go outside to get community. So get off of social media for a bit. You don't have to get off it every day, but like 3 hours of scrolling when you should be doing laundry or working or I don't know, calling up a friend and saying hello. I think that it's what it was that Misty?
No, my arm is itching. Why are these U's? Why do they seem like they should be I's? When you're
Who?
saying when I'm on social media and when you're saying you're on social media scrolling when you should be doing laundry, I feel like you should have been saying I.
Because I feel like there's somebody out there who does that, and they should probably be listening to this part of the episode
I feel
to
like
make sure that it's a reminder for them
I feel
to
like
not do those things.
there's probably somebody in Seattle
There's a lot of people in Seattle.
that is having that experience.
There's so many people in Seattle having that experience
Might
right now.
be the host of a show called Tusp. Um,
Maybe that may be a little bit kind
that
of
was a lot of
sort of,
maybes.
but I feel like there's
As
a lot of other people who may be even more impacted by that. So making the statement that you can do better.
you need to go outside tomorrow. I don't know. I don't know who. I don't know where you gonna go. Where you gonna go tomorrow? Yeah, where you gonna go tomorrow?
So
Rain or
initially I was
shine?
gonna go to Canada. And not even lying. Initially, seriously, I was going to get on the 8 o'clock ferry to go to Canada for the day, for that 6 hour day in Canada.
Okay.
But I didn't do what I was supposed to do today and run my errands to the UPS store and going to the post office and getting taking care of some actual like house stuff. So I have to wait until my next break to go to Canada.
They can't wait until you can. If you don't go to Canada, okay, you've already made peace with it. I'll make peace with it right now. Okay, she's not going. That was random. Why would you even put the idea in my head that you could have gone to Canada
I
tomorrow?
could have if I was more on top of my game today and really wanted to get things done the way they need to get done, because I wouldn't get back to almost 8 o'clock.
Do you have to work
And
on Wednesday?
huh?
You had to work on Wednesday, huh?
Hmm.
She's punishing herself.
So I feel like, I mean, I can probably swing it on a weekend,
Okay.
which will be fine. But I initially I was gonna go to Canada, because I'm this close and I can just shoot up to Victoria real quick.
How long is the
It's
ferry
like
ride?
3 hours.
Okay, so we're gonna do that next time.
Yeah, bring your passport. So I feel like I was
Bring
gonna
your
go to Canada,
passport. Take your
but
passport to the ferry place tomorrow and get on the ferry tomorrow. 'Cause show me
I
what to
need to get
do.
this stuff done before I go back
Yeah,
to work. Otherwise,
I
because for
understand.
whatever reason, stores are closing and they make you do the returns um, via UPS and USPS,
Yes.
which is very silly because why are you charging me for a return when your store is closed?
Okay.
Very rude.
It is. It's very rude, kind of inconsiderate, maybe a little racist. We'll have to look into that. We'll get
Okay.
our best people on that.
Mm, okay. Okay. Thank you all for listening to another episode of Take a Space Podcast. I've been your host, Leah. This has been Jason. Jason, where can people find you?
First, I just like to say I didn't realize we talked for an hour just with this. Um,
You never know. This could be one of our longer episodes.
I always end up thinking like, okay, gotta make it short, gotta make it short, and then we talk before, and
Yeah.
then we talk during, and then we're good, and we don't have to talk anymore. Anyway, you can find me. Yeah, it's deep. You can find me JJ underscore. Stop saying wow. JJ underscore
Wow.
Newberry. They know where to find me.
Just
You just really threw me off with that wow. And
after you
I'm the
follow
one.
Jason on all social media at JJ underscore Newberry, JJ underscore Newberry. Make sure to follow Take a Space Podcast at Take a Space PUD. See, you have me saying
Hood
TUSP at
Tusp.
Take a Space Podcast at Take a Space Pod on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, and YouTube. Please make sure to subscribe to the YouTube. Greatly appreciate it. We've been doing pretty well on Apple Podcasts and Spotify, so I'm pretty excited for that. But yeah, so the YouTube views help as well. So thank you very much for allowing us to continue to do this, and we'll see you next time. Bye.